Hi there, this is Weblan. Welcome back. I want us to look at the cosine rule in dealing with triangles. I have a triangle here, triangle PQR. And on this triangle, our objective is to determine the length of side PQ, which we can also call R. Now you should notice that the angle opposite R is given, that is 64 degrees, and this angle is between two sides, side Q and side P. So we have two given sides and an angle between. We can use that given information to calculate the size of the opposite side, right? Now, when you see in a triangle, you are given two sides and an angle between, and you are asked to determine the length of the side opposite the given angle, you should know you are using the cosine rule, which says r squared, that is the side opposite the angle, r squared is equal to p squared plus q squared minus 2pq cos r. This is the cosine rule, and substituting, our p is 14, so this is 14 squared plus our q is 20, 2 squared minus 2, 14, 22 cos our r is 64 degrees, and we have a squared here. So to get rid of this squared, we introduce square root to both sides, so we are left with an r, and r is equal to, this whole thing is under a square root, and when you go to our calculator, it's the square root of 14 squared plus 22 squared minus 2 times 14 times 22 times the cos of 64 degrees, and this is equal to 20.25 centimeters. This is how we use the cosine to determine the length of a given side. Just remember, when you are given two sides with an angle between, then you use cosine to determine the length of this side. And the other thing that just want to remind you a minute, when you are given these two sides and an angle, you can use that to determine the area. So we can say here, area of triangle PRQ. Triangle PRQ is half times the two sides, that is times 22 times 14, and then times sine of the angle between there, and on your calculator that's going to be equal to half times 14 times 22 times sine 64, and that gives you 138.41 square centimeters, and I have rounded it off to the nearest two decimal places. So that's how we calculate area there. Continuing with the cosine rule, in the previous part of this video, I showed you how to calculate the length of a side when you are given a side, and an angle in between. But now we are given three sides of a triangle, and you can use that to determine the sizes of the angles, right? For example, if we want to determine the size of angle V, we are given this side is 9, this side is 16, and this side is 19. We use the same cosine rule, and what I've done is I want to determine the size of angle V. So what I just have to do is to make V the subject of the expression. So the first thing, I take u squared and w squared to the left, and then I divide both sides by negative 2uw, and then I'm left with cos V. Everything else goes to the left, and then from there I factored out a negative sign, and I'm left with this inside. V squared becomes negative v squared, u squared is positive, negative w squared is positive. The negatives cancel each other, and then I rearrange. It's u squared plus w squared minus v squared over 2uw is equal to cos v. So if I want to determine the size of angle V here, is going to be cos V is equal to, we just substitute into this one, is equal to u squared, and your u squared here is 16 squared plus w squared is 9 squared minus v squared, that is the side, that's 19 squared, and all over 2 times u times w, that is 2 times 16 times 9. And then my v will be equal to, we're getting rid of this cos on the left, it comes to the right as second function 16 squared plus 9 squared minus 19 squared all over 2 times 16 times 9. And this is going to be equal to what? On our calculator, that's 94.78 degrees. That is our V. Our V is 94.78 degrees. That is the size of this angle. Just remember, if you are given three sides, you can determine the size of any of the three angles using the cosine rule. You just have to rearrange it like this, and then you substitute. Enjoy.